New Orleans Saints 7-round mock draft. As you can see, the Saints are picking at number 9 overall with multiple picks in day 2, which is very important because they do need a quarterback. When you look at the depth chart, obviously you have Derek Carr, Spencer Rattler, Jake Haener on the roster. There's a lot of issues going on with Derek Carr. We don't know what the deal is with the injury. Kind of seems like he doesn't want to be there. They could use a quarterback and a quarterback of the future. I like Spencer Rattler, but they're going to take a swing in the first 2 rounds. That's the reality of it. Looking at the other needs on their roster, though, according to PFF, it's wide receiver, running back, which is interesting, and D-line. I don't think they need a stud running back at 9. Like if Ashton Jeanty falls 9, I'm not taking him. That's not what we're doing here. I think they could use somebody in the middle rounds as a very deep running back draft. But I think you look, especially on the interior of that defensive line, they need some help. They need some guys who can step in, bigger, more athletic guys to play the interior 3-4 defensive end and get after the quarterback if needed in those early down situations. But outside of that, guys, I like their secondary. It's pretty solid. The safety position is old, so I think they can prioritize bringing in a younger guy, especially a guy who can play nickel. They need some nickel help. They lost Paulson Adebo. Paulson Adebo. They lost Paulson Adebo this offseason. They need some more corner help. I like Kool-Aid McKinstry and Alontae Taylor, but no Marshawn Lattimore, no Paulson Adebo. Those are your top 2 guys who are now on different teams. So they got to find some other corner help, and I think that could be a priority in the middle of the draft. But without further ado, let's get into this mock draft. Looking at the Saints, like, they're not going to win a ton of games this year. 6.5 at plus money, I think, is a little high. I'd probably go below that. But picking at number 9, we're going to take it pretty slow to start. Just in case, here's the reality. I'm not going to take it slow to start. We're going to be on the clock at 9. I'm not going to think anything about it. We're on the clock at 9. Ashton Jeanty goes before us. Shedeur Sanders is on the board. If this New Orleans Saints want Shedeur Sanders, they're going to take him here. I don't think they do. I think there are better players on the board. I think a guy like Tetairoa McMillan is worth taking over Shedeur Sanders, given the situation the New Orleans Saints have right now. Obviously, like, they got Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave, but this is a guy, Tetairoa McMillan, who can come in and immediately be a day 1 starter. I don't think they think twice about it. And I think defensive interior guys will be there a little later on at like 40 and 71. What's interesting, though, we're going to take Tetairoa McMillan right now. It's the best player on the board. We're not going to think twice about it. What's going to be interesting, though, and I'm going to stop when we get to the end of the first round, right about here. So 32, we have picks 40, 71, 131, and 112. I almost wonder, because I like Jalen Milroe. I think that would be a guy that the Saints target, especially because of the upside coming over Kellen Moore, worked with a guy like Jalen Hurts, similar skill set. He understands how to get the most out of him, right? I almost think we do it. We try to trade up and get him before he's gone. But honestly, looking, guys, okay, Shedeur Sanders goes 21. What would it take to get up here? Like, what could we give him? If we gave him 131, it would probably go through. 184, it still might go through to move up 8 spots. So if we do that, we're on the clock here at 32, not going to think anything of it, and we're going to take Jalen Milroe. So we'll take Jalen Milroe here. We'll be on the clock in about 30 picks at 71. Again, running backs who are coming off the board. Caleb Johnson. As soon as we see a guy like Cam Skattebo's off the board. Look at this, a run on 3 straight running backs. That's why I wanted to get ahead of it. But at the end of the day, you just want somebody to contribute to the depth there. I'm okay waiting till 71 to get a running back or get another player, but Dylan Sampson's on the board. And I almost think that's a no-brainer for our running back position. So we're prioritizing offense, right? We need some defensive line help. There's going to be plenty of good defensive linemen throughout the rest of the draft. We're prioritizing offense right now. Andrew Mukuba is interesting because that is the guy, the young safety that could come in. The only thing is, like, do we lean into Odejo, who's a guy who, like, a pure, like, bigger interior defensive lineman, 6'3", 250, kind of like an outside linebacker who can step inside, not a pure pass rusher, but he can do a lot of different things. I think he's probably the best player on the board, but we need interior help, and that's the issue. We look at the defensive interior guys who are available. Ty Robinson's a guy who's been slipping in drafts. We can take him a little bit later on. I think we take Odejo right now, and we get another defensive lineman, some interior and really versatile help, right? Now we're on the clock again at 112. And now we can look at, best player on the board. But Jamari Caldwell is a guy who I think who's, again, that B-gap, like 3-4 interior defensive lineman. That's where we go. And I don't think we think too much about it. I love this draft so far. We got 3 more picks. I think we're in a really good spot with what we've done so far. Kyle Williams is interesting because he's young. He's a very good player. But R.J. Mickens is a guy who can do so many different things. Like I said, if we want to get a young safety, we want somebody who can play on the inside in the slot as well as roll down and play deep. He's going to learn from Tyrann Mathieu and Justin Reed. He is 6 foot 210, very athletic, son of a former NFL player. Like, he is, to me, a guy who can learn and be molded into whatever the Saints need to, kind of like he was molded into whatever Clemson needed him. So right now we're in a pretty good spot. I mean, you can look at some offensive line. I think we could use some offensive line help, especially when you look at the inside. Like, I don't mind Trevor Penning. Taliese Fuaga I like a lot. But looking at the inside, like, I would love a guy who's played tackle and can play on the inside. I think that's a dream right now, depending on who's available, but that's a dream right now. A guy who can play tackle and a guy who's also played on the inside, or a guy who's an inside guy truly at heart and has also played tackle. So we're going to look at the offensive linemen that are available. Ty Robinson keeps falling, which is very interesting, but Jalen Travis, this is a pure, well, he's a swing tackle. I guess he's played both sides, which is good, and you do need that. But I want some interior experience. Like, Garrett Dellinger has played just on the inside. Marcus Ware has played. Here you go. Here you go. This is what I like to see. Some flexibility, who's played on the outside and played on the inside. I think we go Marcus Ware here, and I don't think we think much about it. And now 254, best player on the board. Jordan Hancock is very interesting. Jared Harrison Hunt is a guy who's played primarily on the inside, but can stretch out and play the wide 9. We already have 2 defensive line. Like, I don't know if we go another defensive lineman. I think we go corner. We need it. And Zay Frazier's a guy who's primarily played on the outside, had a great year last year, was thrusted into a bigger role and had a good year. I think Zay Frazier's a very good day 3 pick, seventh round pick. I like our draft. Apparently Jalen Milroe is an F. He's not going to fall out of the first round in the NFL draft, but it's an A-. We have 4 A's. Zay Frazier, honestly, is a very good pick. A+ Tetairoa McMillan. A on 2 round 3 picks and our round 4 pick, Jamari Caldwell. The defensive line got better. That's the bottom line. We have some depth on the offensive side of the ball, some skill position players to help with Kellen Moore. I think we did a good job. Let me know what you guys think. As always, if you're new, we have 7-round mock drafts for every single NFL team leading up to the NFL draft. Check out the playlist below. Every single draft we've done up to this point, which is everything but the top 8, is there. And we'll have the top 8 coming out in the days leading up to the NFL draft. So make sure you're subscribed. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. We will see you next time. The 8th overall pick video, which is the Carolina Panthers.